few weeks ago, we discussed this with chat, but I quickly want to go over it again. And what I'm talking about here is Trials of Osiris. Pretty much at the end of every season, the population of trials drops and people are dipping. The reason for that is obviously the players are getting their loot and they're getting out of the playlist. Like, unless you're a super sweat, you don't want to play pretty much, because you get your loot and you're like, oh, okay, I'm done, and you get out, right? There's no really incentive for people, for like average players, to play Trials of Osiris. Let's say 1.0 KD players, around that, they just get their loot and dip. Now, I feel like there's a few reasons why this is a huge problem. Now, the first one being, obviously, at the end of the season, it becomes a problem for the population. That's why you see less and less people playing. Therefore, the whole playlist becomes extremely sweaty. But I feel like there's a few things that can change this very easily. Funny enough, one of them was pretty much a bug. You guys know what I'm talking about. You would get to 7 wins and then you keep winning. Even if you had a loss on your card, you keep winning and then you get the loot. And everybody loved this. This pretty much showed that people were ready to play the mode much more if they just kept getting the loot that they were trying to farm. However, I don't think that's the only thing needed for this issue of the whole, stomping average players, which happens a lot in Trials of Osiris, especially in the first few games. Now, let me explain why that's happening. All these sweats that are really, really good players, simply because they don't have incentive to play, ladies and gentlemen, what they do is they don't care about flawless, so they reset their card on the first or second game, so they go against easier teams and they increase their stats. So let's say if somebody's trying to help his friend go flawless, or he's trying to go flawless by himself and he's like an average player, he's going against these 3-stack teams that are sweaty as hell and they're getting destroyed. And that's not a cool experience. And when this keeps happening over and over again, people lose focus. They don't want to do it anymore. Obviously, the issue is there's no incentive for those really good sweaty players to play Trials of Osiris in terms of going flawless. Now, I think I know how we can fix this. And it's actually a pretty simple fix, I would say, because Bungie won't really have to add any kind of special weapons or armor pieces. Think about this, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments, okay? What if every season we have a certain amount of flawlesses you need to reach in order to get specific ornaments, shaders, and cool emblems? Hear me out. Let's say you get 50 flawlesses a season and you get an ornament for one of the weapons, let's say for the igneous or the sniper, whatever, something that is rare, something that not everybody's able to get. That alone will incentivize the players to stay in that flawless pool at all times and try to go flawless, right? And now they're not resetting their cards, and that's kind of helping the average players out a lot more. But that's not it. At 100 wins, now let's say you get a new emblem or a shader, and then at 150 wins, you get something even cooler. So all these items are cosmetics, but at the same time, they give reason to those people that really don't want to go flawless because there's nothing there apart from, farming those stats. And this one gives them incentive to play, because if that does happen, what happens is these sweaty players, the reason they're doing this and farming those stats is to show off. But if you give them something that is better and cooler and shinier, which they can use, stand in the tower, flex that ornament or that shader or that emblem, I feel like a lot of people will be going flawless, and it will be much more important than just farming some fake stats. A lot of people would be playing it. The population would grow. The average players would know that, holy shit, okay, I'm not gonna get stomped every first and second game, so might as well try it with my friends, which eventually will cause those teams to get better. If they keep playing and playing, they get more experience, they understand how Trials works, they become better as a team. That experience translates to winning more, and then they go flawless, right? Obviously, the numbers can be lower or higher. Bungie can look at the numbers and figure out what is better, maybe 30 instead of 50 and 70 instead of 100 or 80 or whatever it's gonna be. But I feel like this would motivate the sweatiest players to stay in the flawless pool and just farm the shit out of it to get the shiniest and the coolest little cosmetic items that would put them apart from the normal players. And yes, not everyone is going to be able to get these cosmetics, and I feel like that's fine. That's not a problem at all. It's not an OP weapon or anything like that. You can't really cater to everyone. It's just not how it works. See, that's where the problem occurs. The highly skilled players don't feel rewarded for flawless, so they're not going to go flawless because for them it's not that hard and there's nothing there at the end, and then it ends up being really bad for the average players. So you have to endure something, right? And at this point, that's why I said don't make it a weapon, don't make it a crazy exotic, nothing like that, so they don't have some insane perks that will make other people complain about it. Just make it ornaments and cosmetics. I feel like that's fair, and I feel like that would help everyone overall. So at the end of the day, Trials of Osiris was absolutely amazing when it made its return in Destiny 2 in week 1. Everybody loved it. All-time high, 700,000 players, right? But eventually what happens is at the end of the season, the population drops. And the reason for that is everybody gets the loot they want and they dip. But there is a few ways that you can fix it. There really is. And this is one of them. And I feel like it's really fair. The good players get what they want, and the average players just enjoy the mode as much as possible. And at the same time, they're able to farm the loot.